Hi, and welcome to our paint night. Okay, well, tonight we will be painting our nighttime scene. We have a nighttime scene. We have some birch trees. We even have a little Santa Claus that's flying across the sky. Okay. Um, I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to do this and so that you can make an art piece of your own. As we go to paint, maybe yours won't look just like mine. Is that okay? Yes, is it okay? Can you make more trees? Yes, you can make more trees. Can you make just one tree? Yeah. Do you have to make trees? No, this is your art project. Therefore, you can do it however you like. Okay. I'm just going to show you techniques to where you can make an art piece that's original for you. Okay. So let's get started. All right. Hold on. That a little bit. Okay. All righty. You'll see I have a little bit of blue on my whiteboard. That's paint because I've done this already once. Okay. So what I have for you, you'll see that I have the same canvas that you have. I'll put my little Bob Ross there. He'll keep us company. I have my canvas that is the same as yours, and I'm gonna set it up. It makes it easier if it's sitting up. So maybe have a couple books behind your canvas so that it's sitting up or standing. That would be the most easy to use. Okay. Well, what you're going to see me get out first is my large paintbrush. So right now I'm getting my large paintbrush out. Okay, my large paintbrush is right here. Your paintbrush may be bigger or maybe a little bit smaller, but it's you have two paintbrushes in your kit and it's the largest of the two. Like I have this one and I have, hold on, rinse that off just a little bit. And I have this paintbrush. Okay, you can clearly see the larger of the two is the one that you're going to be using first. You're going to be using this primarily in your painting. So you're going to use this one a whole bunch. So you'll need to have a cup of water, and I'm going to get a fresh cup of water right now. Okay, so I have some water so that I can rinse my paintbrush. And you can use, a cup that you have at home. That's fine. If you have, I just have a water bottle that I cut in half. So, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. But I have my water. I rinsed my paintbrush so it's nice and moist and ready to go. First thing we're going to do, we're going to we're going to get out our white paint. So I have my white paint here. I'm going to open it up. And it's pretty full. What I'm going to do, I'm going to load my paintbrush. So I'm only going to put paint on the edge, on the top edge of my paintbrush. And I'm going to do kind of like a cross hatch, going back and forth to add paint to my canvas. I'm right now, I'm focusing on where my moon is in the night sky. I'll show you my painting one more time. You'll see that in the video, it's probably pretty hard to be able to see where the paint is that I'm applying. I don't need to put the white paint all over the canvas right now. I'm just looking at, okay, I'm going to put my moon somewhere around this vicinity, about right there. Okay, and so I want to add white paint going out from that area. I want to do that so that when I go to put my blue to blend, it will easily take some of that white and mix it with the blue so that it's like more of a subtle blend. Okay, so I'm almost done applying my white. Feel pretty good about having about this much white. You'll see that I'm not real particular about how I'm to apply it. I'm just applying white and add a circle right there. That's about where I want to have my moon. Okay. So now I know where I'm going. Okay, now I'm going to get my light blue. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I have white on my paintbrush. It's okay that I don't rinse my paintbrush because I'm going to be blending the white with the blue anyway. So I'm going to dip it into my paint. See, I have some just on the bristles. We don't want to get too far down into the bristles because it's not really good for the paintbrush for there to be paint that dries in in the casing area and inside the metal part, because then it dries and then the paintbrush, it doesn't lay as flat and it's not as good to use. So see if you can try to keep your paint mostly at from the middle up. Okay. So anyways, I loaded my paintbrush with the blue and now I'm going to make a circle. Okay. Make a circle going all the way around where I want my moon to be. Okay. I'm going to go around and around that circle. And you'll see as I go in, it's getting lighter, isn't it? Okay, that's good. That's what I want. Okay, so I'm going to get that blue again, and I'm going to start from the spot that I left off last time from the edge. I'm going to go around, and I'm going to go out just a little bit, and I'm going to work my way in a little, and I'm going to go out. So I'm going to gradually make this great big donut, okay? Making this circle, and I'm gradually going out further and further with my water. Start from the edge, and I'm going to work my way in to make sure, see if I can. And even if I apply a little bit less pressure towards the middle, then I have less paint that's being dropped on the canvas. Yeah, the harder you push, usually if you have your paintbrush loaded, you're going to have a lot more paint that's left on the canvas. So I'm just extending this big blue donut. I have a huge donut. I love donuts. I know one of my students was telling me the best place to go eat donuts is there's a shop that's down below. I think they said the donut guy or something like that. And I mean, my students always tell me these interesting facts and places that I need to go. So of course I do need to go there. I think I might go there during winter break. Go to the donut guy. They have some really interesting kind of donuts. He was saying that they have bacon donuts. They have, he was telling me all kinds of interesting things, just like really different kinds of donut flavors that I'd never even heard of. Well, ooh, that could be trouble for me. Have a little bite of a donut and turn into a donut. They say you are what you eat, right? Okay, so I'm extending my circle. Okay, so now I have a pretty broad circle of blue, right? You'll notice that it's lighter towards the middle. What if your whole big circle and you have a whole big circle and it's all the same color? Okay, I'm going to help you solve that problem. Watch this. I'm going to rinse my brush just a little bit. I'm going to dab it in the water, squish it out just a little bit so that my brush doesn't have to run totally clear. So whenever I rinse my brush, I drop it in the water and I swoosh it around a little bit. And then I dab it. You probably can't see this. Let me point it down. You see I have a paper towel down here. And what I do, I take the flat bristle sides and I dab it onto my paper towel. It takes some of the moisture out. And also then I can see, is my paintbrush really clean? And right now it's not running clear. In other words, I have a little bit of color on my paper towel. And so I would know, oh, I have a little bit of color, but that doesn't bother me right now, because what I'm going to do, if my circle were all blue and I wanted to add some more white to the middle, I'm just going to add some more white to the middle. I'm going to dab on some white on my paintbrush and I'm going to circle it back up, circle it around, and I'm going to go into where the blue is. And look, it ends up blending really nicely. I have a very white, stark white, and then it blends out to a lighter blue and then a little bit darker, okay? So you can solve all of your problems. Don't get frustrated that, oh, this isn't turning out exactly like what I see on the screen. It's okay. You could always, modify just by adding a little more paint, letting it dry sometimes and applying more paint. And if you get to the frustration level, then stopping and doing something else for a little while or taking a break and coming back to it might be a good idea, okay? This isn't supposed to be something frustrating. It's supposed to be something fun. So let's keep on going. So now I have my light blues and they're pretty, this is about as big as I want my light blue circle. Now I want to add some dark blue. I want my dark blue circle to extend beyond this line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my dark blue. You have that one too. My dark blue, and I'm going to go ahead. How far am I going to go on my paintbrush? Yes, I'm just going to go halfway. So I'm going to dip into my paint, and you'll see that I'm only about halfway on my paintbrush. You'll also see that it's shiny. It's really loaded heavily, and that's fine because we're going to need a lot of paint to cover up this big old canvas. So then I'm going to go around, on and around my current blue circle, okay? Okay, well, I ran out of paint. What do? Go back in there. Get back in there, you. Okay, and I'm going to go back onto my blue circle. I'm going to go cover up a little bit of my blue circle and extend out further. So now I have what used to be a blue donut, a light blue donut. Now I have a big blue, dark blue ring around my blue donut, right? Oops. I have my little painter friend here. He's going to keep me company. That's Bob Ross. So those of you who, a long time ago, he was a very famous guy he was a famous TV personality, and he used to give lessons on how to paint, and he was just amazing. I remember watching him as a little kid, and he was just so funny because he would say things like, let's make some little happy trees. He was just so funny. But his amazing artist, I mean, wow. You would see something that he would start painting, and it would all of a sudden it would just come to life, and it was just so amazing. It's one of those people that I just think that they're just wonderful. There's that he can do something that's so amazing and show other people how to do it. Okay, so I have my blue. I'm still applying my blue. I'm loading my paintbrush over and over again, going about halfway on my paintbrush. If you do go further than halfway, don't stress about it. It's okay. Just rinse it and make sure that you rinse your paintbrush. We want your paintbrushes to last as long as possible. That way you can use them on your future art projects, right? Okay. All right, so I'm filling this in, and you're filling yours in as well. Okay, if I go too fast during this tutorial, the beautiful thing about a pre-recorded tutorial is that you can pause. You can stop and pause the recording and take your time, or you can, go back. You can rewind whatever I'm teaching you and go back later on and say, wait, how did she do that? I missed that. How did that go? And you can take your time and look and see the details of how I'm painting so that you can go at your own pace. I tend, when I'm doing a new art piece, it takes me forever, okay? Really a long time. I go really slow, and I'm very meticulous about, oh, this isn't quite right. And so I add more and more paint to make things to where it's just how I want it. I'm just very particular. And if you're like that and you take a long time, it's okay. You could always pause me. Like if I'm going too fast, say, whoa, slow down there, lady. You have the ability to slow me down. Okay. So you'll see I'm going all the way to the edge. Going all the way to the edge, it's fine. And over here too. Okay, but right now you'll see, oh my gosh, there's this line, and this doesn't look well blended, Mrs. Clapping. This isn't exactly what I thought it would be. I don't really like this. You know what? I don't like it either. So let's fix it. So rather than getting all worked up and saying, oh, I hate this, so terrible. Instead, we are going to blend it to where it looks really awesome. Are you ready for this? I am too. And you know what? If it doesn't turn out just how I want it, am I going to freak out? No, I'm not going to freak out. Instead, I'm just going to keep painting until I have exactly what I want. So I'm going over this. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. But now I have 3 lines, Mrs. Glopping. I'm going to freak out. Don't freak out. Instead, keep on painting. Just keep swimming. I feel like Dory on, what do you call that movie? Finding Nemo. I'm sure some of you said it for me. Dory on Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do we do? Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, 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 oh. I love to paint. Oh, I love to swim. Okay. Okay, now, okay, this is getting a little bit better. And now I'm going to go out. Okay, I'm gonna add just a little bit of light blue again because I want to go from out to in. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go out to, oh, here we go. This is looking better. Okay, I really like how this transition is starting to turn out. Okay, so I'm gonna dip a little more in my light blue. I'm gonna go from out to in. Okay, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to dip a little more light blue, go from out to in. And remember, we're still keeping this round shape, right? Okay. Okay, you see I'm just going back and forth until it, like, when this paint is wet, it blends after a while. But when you let it dry, then you're going to have to apply more paint. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I'm going to wet I just put a little bit of water on my brush just to add a little more moisture, but I want to put a little bit more of my light blue paint because I want this, see how this looks like a little bit segmented? I want this to blend more. I want it to be more of a gradual ombre kind of look. So I'm going out to in. Okay. And if you don't like a spot, then just keep going over it until you see the color that you want. Will it happen right away? Probably not. I mean, look how many times I've had to go over and over and over, and that's okay. Oh, that's looking much better. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it does come right out. So if you're one of the lucky ones where it just took a minute, good for you. No, I'm just kidding. But just take your time, be patient with yourself. Sometimes it takes a while and you'll have to blend for quite a while. Okay, so I'm going to add a little more of the dark blue just to make the contrast really sharp so that I have very dark, medium, light, white. Okay. Okay. I was going for my very dark. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to do my yellow. What was I thinking? Don't worry. We'll go back to the yellow. Okay. So I went the very dark blue and I'm going to go out to in because the very dark colors, they're saturated. They will cover the lighter colors much more easily. And so when I'm going from, you'll hear me say going out from in, I say that on purpose to tell myself, not even just you guys, to tell myself, oh yeah, remember when I'm going, when I take the dark colors and I bring them in towards the middle, it's more saturated. You have more paint on the outside. Then as you go in, you have less paint and the color will be a little bit lighter. So I'm going out to in. Ooh, yeah, you see that? See, there was a dark stripe. So I'm like, oh no, you didn't. So I just keep painting on it until I have that blend the way I want it. And then I want it super dark on the outer edge there. There we go. My super dark. There we go. Okay. So now I think I have a pretty nice contrast. I'm almost there. Like I said, sometimes it takes longer than others. I want to make this contrast a little more blended. So I'm cleaning my paintbrush right now. I'm rinsing it. and dabbing it. Okay. So now I have most of the moisture out of my paintbrush. I'm going to do like this very light blue one more time right in that spot and see if I can blend that a little bit better. Okay, I'm moistening it right now. Maybe get a little bit of water on it, just a little bit. Just keep going over it and over it. You may be thinking, oh no, Miss Clapping, what are you doing? It's okay, it's a painting. You just keep on working with it until it's what you want. Ooh, it's very wet right there. Well, don't worry, it dries. Just keep rubbing on it. Ah, now it's starting to blend the way I like it. And hopefully yours is too. Don't get discouraged. Even if it ends up, putting a really dark spot on your canvas, it's okay, because then you just get a little bit more white or the lighter color and work it out. Blend it in, rub it around. Okay, well, you'll notice that I did put a little more white towards the center. I did that for a reason, because we need to add a little bit of yellow to our moon, because I really like the contrast of having a little bit of yellow to our moon. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. Me, I like it, so I'm going to. So you'll see that see how little of yellow I got? Just a smidge, if you want to say, smidge of yellow. I'm going to take my palette. I like to use this, as you can tell. Take my palette and I'm going to dab that yellow onto my palette. See, I just put some of that yellow from my paintbrush onto my palette. Now, on the opposite end of my paintbrush, I'm going to get some white. See how I got quite a bit of white. See, compared to how much yellow I got. Now I'm going to dump off. I'm going to scrape that white onto my palette, and now I'm going to mix that together with my paintbrush. I'm just dabbing it and squishing it and swirling it. Okay, now I have a very pale yellow. Okay. And I don't have a whole bunch on my paintbrush, just a little bit. So what I'm going to do that circle in the center with that very pale yellow. So I'm just swirling around, going around, going around, softening it. I'm lightly, very lightly going out towards the edges so that it looks kind of like the glow of the moon. That's the kind of effect I wanted to have. I mean, I can even go a little bit further if I wanted to, just to make it like, oh, that's the moon is glowing. I like that. I like that idea. Okay, so now I have my moon glowing on the screen. I don't know if you could see it as well as as clearly as what I could see it in front of me, but you'll see it's a very pale kind of yellow that I did right in the center. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush. I have one more color before I'm finished with our night sky. The color that I'm referring to is black. Yes. So I'm going to make sure that I put my lids back on my light blue, because bye-bye, light blue, I'm all done with you. Bye-bye, white, I'm all done with you. For now. I'm going to be using that white again. And, oops, I didn't snap that all the way. Now, hello, my black. Okay, once again, black is a very strong color. If you just use a little bit of it, it goes a long way. So the paints that you have, you're going to notice that you're going to have leftover paint. Hey, you guys can make, handmade, hand-painted Christmas cards for people, and you can do all kinds of fun things with your leftover paint. So I wouldn't just throw them away right away. Maybe you want to do an art project after this, one of your own. Okay, so I'm just going to get a little bit of black paint. See how I just loaded my brush up just a little bit, and I'm going to put it at the corners of my canvas, because the further away from the light source we have, a little less light, right? And so I'm just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You get the idea. Okay, to where It's very, very black here, but I'm just lightly, lightly, lightly going over and over again so that you can tell, okay, it's fading into the night sky. If you want to have more of a night sky and you want to have it, you know, more black than just at the corners, you can do that. Once again, this is your art project, so you have creative freedom that way. Okay, back and forth I go, just lightly, 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 to be able to blend in the night sky. Okay, and what I'm noticing, I have like these streaks because my paintbrush is starting to split a little. I'm gonna rinse my paintbrush and reshape it because I don't want those streaks. I want it to be more uniform. And since I'm gonna fix that, I'm going to load my paintbrush just a little bit so that there's that nice wet paint. And I'm gonna go over that spot so that makes it to where, it has, so that it's what I want. That's what art's all about, making it to where you like it. Everybody's art is going to be different. Everybody's painting is going to be a little bit different. Make it to where you like it. Okay. So for me, since the light source is so far away, I just have this end of my canvas, the opposite end of my canvas with black on it. If you wanted to have black at every corner, yes, you can absolutely do that. If you want to have a whole bunch of black and just a little bit of blue, just have fun with your blending and it's going to look great. Just be patient. And if you start getting frustrated, just remember, you can just keep on blending, keep on blending. I'm going to play with that just a tiny bit because I didn't want that to be so stark. I want it to be better blended. Such a small spot. Oh, one thing I didn't mention at the beginning, having something underneath your canvas, like a tablecloth or, something to where you don't get your paint all over your whiteboard or your table, might be a good idea. I mean, this paint does come off. Okay. Like that a little bit better, I think. Okay. All right. So now that I have this part done, now I'm going to go ahead and add some stars in my sky. So I'm going to rinse my paintbrush one more time. Stars are typically a white or a glowing kind of yellowy color. If you want to have yellow stars, you can have yellow stars. If you want to have white stars, you can have white stars. I'm going to go with the white stars just because I like it. That just speaks to me as being what my painting would look best with. So I'm rinsing out my brush, trying to get it out as much paint as possible. Right. Yes. Okay. So my brush is quite nearly clear, nearly clean. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some white paint on the end of my brush. Okay. So I loaded my brush and now I'm going to kind of like, I don't know how better to explain it other than to flick it. So what you're going to do, you're going to pull back on the bristles and then you're going to release it, pull back and release, pull back and release, and you're going to aim it towards your canvas. Get fairly close to your canvas. I mean, like within, a finger length of your canvas, and get ready and fire. Okay, so you're going to aim and pow. Ooh, I have a shooting star. Okay, I have little constellations coming in there. What if you have, a big long stripe like that? Should you clear it off? Well, do you want to? I'll show you how to clear it if you want to clear it off. Okay. And I'm putting more stars on my sky, little tiny stars in my night sky. It's beautiful. Sure, yours is turning out really cool too. I like this part. It's a little bit messy, but sure is fun. Okay, you can add as many stars as you want to your night sky. Okay, like I said, if you have something like that and you're like, oh, I don't like it. Well, do you want to leave it or do you want to take it away? If you want to take it away, well, you know what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go back to blending again, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Could you leave it? Absolutely. I think it adds a little bit of character. And if I wanted to, I can add a tree right there, and then all of a sudden, what I didn't like would disappear. Okay, so I don't know. I kind of think now I'm thinking about it, putting a tree there is kind of a smart idea. Yeah, I think I will. So at this point, I'm going to leave it just where it is. And I like the rest of my stars. I even like this funny little squiggly one. If you want to add more stars, bigger stars, you can add bigger stars. But I kind of like my starry sky the way it is. Okay, so now at this point, now I'm going to have to wait until my canvas is dry. You can tell when your canvas is dry when it stops looking shiny. Okay, it'll have this like dull look to it. And so I'm going to wait until my canvas, like right here, if it's a little bit damp yet, like in the corners. Yeah. And so I'm going to wait just a couple minutes before I start to add my trees. And Bob Ross, do you agree? Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah. So in just a couple minutes, we're going to add our trees. So if you want to take a break and go rinse your water cups, now would be an excellent time to rinse your water cups. If you want to, go get a snack or go watch a little, watch some funny TikToks or something, you can do whatever you like. I would just give it like maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes and come on back, and then we'll be ready to move on, because we want your background to be dry before we put your foreground, which would be your trees and the things that are up close, onto your canvas. Otherwise, we'll be putting our trees on the canvas, and they'll be mixed in blue because of the blue paint that's in the background. We want that blue to stay stationary, stay where it is, and so that we can put the white on top of it and it won't blend into our white. We want our white to be true white. Okay. So I will go get new water and be right back. Hello, and I am back. Okay, it's been a few minutes now, and hopefully you have taken this time to unwind and get ready for the fun and magic to begin. Okay, I'm going to get my large paintbrush once again, and let me get a new paper towel, because my paper towel is looking pretty bad. I have used it and abused it. All right, so I have my nice clean paper towel and my nice clean paintbrush. Okay, my large paintbrush. So you're going to grab your large paintbrush again. I like to really push down my bristles, straighten them out nice and straight. It's totally up to you how you like to use yours. I'm going to show you how to make birch trees. I'm going to draw, I don't know how many. I have no idea. It's just going to be for fun. So I'm going to draw as many as I'm inspired, or paint as many as I'm inspired to paint at the time. So look out. Here we go. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead. And get some white paint, and I am going to plop it on down on my palette. See where I put the white paint? I just set it on down on the palette. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, this is going to seem crazy. Hold on to your horses, people. Okay. I'm going to get a tiny bit, just a tiny edge. When I say tiny, I mean, see, look how tiny that is. Super duper tiny amount of black. And I'm going to set it next to my white. And then I'm going to smoosh it together. Yes, we are smooshing. Smoosh like you've never smooshed before. Okay, you don't have to say smoosh if you don't want to. But if you do say smoosh, you're going to find that you really love it. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, I love to say that word smoosh. Mrs. Clapping, she gave me the word smoosh. Someday it'll be in a dictionary. Smoosh. Mrs. Clapping, strange phrase. It means to mix paint together. Yeah, I am just too silly right now. Okay, so you'll see that, okay, this looks like white, doesn't it? No, it's a slight tinge of gray. Okay, so if it's a light gray, you're doing good. If it's a white with just a barely hint of gray, you're doing great. Okay, so you just want this very light white gray color. If you wanted to do just white, you could, but this is going to give you more depth and more dimension. So what you're going to do, you're going to start from the bottom of your canvas and you're going to apply, let's see, you're going to push the bristles against your canvas and you're going to pull up, and you'll see that I am not going to make a straight line. I don't want my my tree to be just totally straight, because trees in nature are not totally straight, are they? No, they're like people, you know, we're all a little bit different and nobody's perfect. And I want my tree to represent that it's okay to be different and to not be perfect. I love it. Okay, so you'll see that I'm going to keep on filling that in. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker on the bottom because that's like where the root system is, and trees are typically a little bit wider on the bottom than they are on the top. Gives them a nice, broad, strong base. Okay. You don't only have to go from bottom to top. You can go from top to bottom, but if you want. You'll notice that I ran out of paint going up. Oh no, I should start over, right? No. Please. You just keep on going. Okay, and if you keep going over and over the same spot when your paint is wet, what did we learn when we did that? Well, when we were doing the background and we kept going over wet paint, we found that we were blending, right? The paint would start to leave and it would change into a new color. Well, same kind of thing. If you keep going over wet paint with more wet paint, you're just going to end up picking it up. See how I have like little dents of paint here? Yeah, I should let this dry for a second. I don't know if that really helps it dry faster, but it makes me think it does, and then I feel productive. Yes, I'm sure that helped. Okay, I'm going to keep on adding white because I want that to be a nice solid layer of white for my tree, that light gray white. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, and I'm going to fill it in up here. Oh, my people, this is looking nice. I like it already. I bet yours are looking really good too. Okay, so there's my first tree. Oh my gosh, isn't it amazing? Okay, let's keep going. Oh no, I'm almost out of my white gray. What do? We make more. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna scoop up big old hunka white and a little tiny tinge. A little bit. Oof, I got a little bit more than I wanted. I'm gonna dump off a little bit of that black over there. Okay. And then I'm going to, remember what this was called? It's going to be in Mrs. Clapping's dictionary. Yes, we are going to smoosh this together. Smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. I should write a song. Smoosh, 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 smoosh. Sing it with me. Smooshy, smooshy. Smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. Okay. Yes, yes. Beautiful. Super light, almost white, gray. Oh, makes me so happy. Okay. So now I have some more made. I am going to go back to my canvas. It's okay if it's not exactly the exact same tint as my first tree. Every tree is different. Every tree is beautiful. And we're just going to go with the flow. So I'm going to do my second tree. I think I'll make this pretty lady right here. And I'm going to make her a little bit tilted like that. And she's going to rise all the way off the thing, off the canvas. Okay, I'm gonna grab some more paint. I'm loading up my paintbrush. Have it just on the top half of my paintbrush there. Make the bottom a little bit wider. Okay. Yes. Oh, this makes me so happy. She's so pretty. Okay. I'm going to flip over my paintbrush. See if I have a little bit of paint left on the other side. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I'm picking up wet paint because I'm going over and over my wet paint. Remember I said don't do that, and here I'm doing it. So once again, I'm going to sit here and do the very serious and technical technique of blowing on my canvas. You do 3 blows. Did you do it? Okay, now we are going to do a long blow. I'm just kidding. It just doesn't matter. I'm just blowing on my canvas because it just seems to dry a little bit faster. And the paint does dry really fast. Okay, what you want to keep in mind is that you're going to have your silhouette of Santa and his reindeer going through the moonlight. So I'm not going to want to put my next tree going right in front of my my moon. Instead, I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to have another side tree over off to the side, and maybe I'll do another little tiny tree. I kind of feel like I need a little tiny tree off to the side too. So I'm going to load up my paintbrush. I think I'm just going to have 2 little guys. I'm going to have a little guy over there and a little guy over here. Kind of reminds me of my family. There's the daddy, he's the big guy, and then here's the pretty mama. That's me. No, I'm just kidding. But and then I'm gonna have my girl, my boy. They're both my little saplings. So I'm gonna drag it up. There, this one's a skinny boy. Yep, just like my Ethan. Don't tell him I said that. I'll deny it. Oh wait, this is recorded, isn't it? Okay, so that looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid. I don't even think I would need to go over that one. Now I'm going to do my pretty girl off to the other side. Like I said, you can have as many trees as you want. You can have thin trees, you can have thick trees. Like you see, I have one very thin tree over here. I have one tree that's pretty straight, one that's a little more, has a little more character to it. It's a little more curved. And then I'm going to do my tree right here. And that one looks great. I think I'll have that one stop right there, and I'll fill that one in to where it's a nice solid white. Sweetest thing ever. Oh, I'm in my classroom right now, and one of our custodians came by to, you know, clean up the classroom and make sure that everything's properly sanitized and everything. And he said, "Oh, I don't want to leave before you do, and so I'm going to stay and wait for you," because he was trying to make sure that we stay safe. It's just people's kindness. It just touches me. I love it. But no, we're not going to be all that late. Okay, so anyways, I'm just filling in my bark, making sure that it's a nice, solid white gray. Oh yes, she is a queen. Love it. Yes, yes, yes. Fill that in just a little bit. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I have the trees that I like. If you, like I said, if you wanted to do more trees, yes, you can do more trees. If you want to have only one tree or no trees at all, that's totally up to you. You make it your art piece. Okay. So now what do we do? Well, now we are going to come back and we are going to dry brush. This is really fun. This is the fun part, the part where you start seeing your trees come out into dimensions rather than it being just a flat picture. It's going to make it look like your trees are rounded. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to draw this up on the board above the painting so that you can see what I'm, because sometimes it's kind of hard for you to see what I'm painting and how exactly I'm holding the brush. So I'm going to do a sweeping motion like this with the paintbrush, okay? Can you see that? Oh, here I tell you, okay, you can't see this very well, so let me draw it for you and I don't even tilt the camera. Okay, let me do it one more time. So I'm gonna hold the paintbrush and I'm gonna do a sweeping motion like this, okay? I'm gonna be stronger, heavier, pushing down harder here, and then lighter as I go back, okay? So if this is my tree, I'm gonna push the paintbrush here and go light. Push the paintbrush here, go light. Push the paintbrush here and go light, okay? You see what I'm doing? Okay, so it's gonna be heavy on the right, lighter to the left, okay? I'm not even going all the way over to the other side. I mean, you could if you want to, but how I like to do my trees, I don't like to go all the way over. Okay, well, so this is going to be dry brushing. So now I have my paintbrush, I've rinsed it well. And what I'm gonna do, after I rinse it, then I push it against my paper towel to where there's no more moisture coming from my paintbrush, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I am going to get the black and I dip. You'll see that I loaded my paintbrush with the black. I didn't put a whole bunch. I didn't go all the way, midway onto my bristles. I only went just on the very tips of it, right? And now I'm just going to touch it onto my palette here because I don't want it, I want it to be loaded, but I want to unload it some, so to speak. I only want it to be moistened. I don't want it to be like drippy, okay? So I'm wiping the excess, the extra paint off. So you'll see, yeah, you can still see it's a little shiny, but it's not like a whole bunch of paint on there. And you can even test it by pushing it on your palette and saying, okay, yeah, that kind of looks like eyelashes. Or, if you push it down and, draw it back, it has a nice kind of smear or smudge to it. Now it's ready to do the dry brushing. So what you're going to do, you're going to go up. Let me see, where can you see well? Okay. You're going to go to the side of your bark. You're going to do just the motion that I showed you before. You're going to push down and roll it back. Okay. You're going to push down, bring it down, and roll it back. Okay. You're going to continue to do this and you're going to see that, oh, I'm losing some of my paint. That's okay. It gives it more depth. It gives it more dimension. It's kind of cool that way. Push it down and go back. And you know what? I think I want to add some more paint to my paintbrush. So I'm going to add some more paint. Once again, I'm going to dab it until, so I load it to unload it. So I load it to get it wet, but I don't want it to be juicy. Don't want it to be thick. And then I'm going to go back onto the side of my bark, bring it back. Try to go to the edge as close as you can to the edge. Okay, and I'm going to move over to another tree. And I want to get some more paint on there. You don't have to do, once again, this is up to you how many and how much you want to. This is kind of like giving the bark some depth. If you want to just do a little bit of this, it makes you uncomfortable to, you're afraid and you don't want to put too much black on there. It's okay. You don't have to. But I will tell you that we are going to add some more. Right now we're adding low lights. So we're adding dimension with the darker colors, and then we're going to add dimension with a white. So don't be afraid if you put too much black, you're like, oh no, I don't quite like that so much. We're going to come back with white too. And so then you can add some more white into it to lighten it up if you think that you might have went, a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with the black. So I'm going to like that. Come across further. I want to go further. Can. Okay. Okay. So there's a couple of my trees. I'm going to keep going. Please go at your own pace. Like I said before, if I go too fast or if I go too slow and you're ready to move on, you can fast forward me by all means. My husband wishes that he could. Wish that he could speed me up to get me out of the house on time because I'm late. And I hold him back from leaving the house sometimes. Oh, isn't that special? No. But you guys can use your technology that way. Okay, so I'm doing this tree. I'm going to squish on over. Good. I like that one. Oh, that was a good one. I feel like I'm getting better at this the more I do it. And the more of a scoop that you make, the more you make it look like it's actually a rounded tree. This one's going to be a little tricky since it's so tiny. Like I said, if it doesn't end up exactly how you wanted it, like I don't know if I want so much, we can always, do stuff to make it better. Like look at that little squish there. I think I'm going to put a branch there because I don't really like that. That makes me a little crazy. It's like, oh, that looks like a mistake. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make that mistake into something that I really like. And you can totally do that. Okay, so now that I have all of the black on there that I want, I'm like, okay, I feel pretty good about my black dry brushing that I've done already. Okay, now I'm going to come back and do white dry brushing. So same kind of concept, but this time we're going to use white. Remember what color we used for our bark? Was it a true white? No, it wasn't. Okay. All right. Those of you who are watching this video, you guys get the primo video because with the live class, I didn't tell them to do the gray bark. Instead, they did just the white bark because I thought, you know what, we're going to run out of time, and doing it with them, I think it may, add too much time to their lesson, and it was only 2 hours. Well, with you guys, I'm able to go faster since I'm not, waiting and answering questions and stuff. And you guys can pause me and fast forward me whenever you want. So one of the benefits of having just the video is you can go at your own pace, and I can give you little details and little hints of things that you could do that I may not have thought to do with the other class. So that it's kind of a benefit, if you want to say that. Okay, so now I have my paintbrushes ready again. I just rinsed it really well. I like to squish my bristles to where they look nice and flat again, kind of silky. I dabbed my paintbrush to where it's just moist. It's not wet. If I were to push it onto a paper towel, it doesn't even give anything off hardly. Okay, so now I'm going to take my white. Okay, this is going to be my highlights. So I'm going to dab it once again, just like I did with the dry brushing. I'm going to find a clean place. I'm going to dab it just a little, just so that I have some on the brush, but not so much to where it's like a glob. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to go the opposite direction than I did the first time. So I'm taking the opposite side, doing dry brush, making a nice crisp line. And in doing this, it's actually making it to where the bark looks rounded. And remember, you're not going with a straight line, you're doing that scoop. You're doing that scoop. Here. Trying to make that line very straight. Okay. And I'm going to keep on going. Oops. Sorry, I start to focus and then the world falls away. I love to paint. It's a fun escape. Like making something out of, and doing something that I didn't know I could do. Okay, so I have that one done. Now I'm going to work on this big daddy here. Oh wait, no, this is the mama tree, I guess. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're starting to see this tree start to pop out of this. And we're going to add, in a few minutes, we're going to add a couple little branches. And you guys are going to be so impressed with yourselves. I'm always so impressed. That's the part. I don't know. It's when you start doing the fine details that it's like, oh, wow, that really looks like real life painting. Look, I did that. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. And I think I do talk to myself like that. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. So I have this highlighted area. It's very light white. I have the base that was whitish grayish, and then I have the black as low lights coming in from the side. So far, so good. Okay, now for the first time, drum roll please. Introducing your tiny brush. Yay! Tiny brush, tiny brush, tiny brush time. Okay. So now with our tiny brush is for details. So now we are going to do some really fun stuff with our tiny brush. Okay. We are going back to our black paint. So I'm going to grab our black paint, and what we're going to do, we're going to make these trees seem more lifelike. We're going to add blemishes. Okay. So these blemishes are going to look kind of like this. Once again, it's hard for you to see what I'm doing with when I'm painting, and so I'm going to like giant size it right now. So you're going to make a dot, dot, a 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 dot, kind of like that. Okay. You're just going to make kind of like dot little triangles, or you can go ziggity zag, ziggity zag, ziggity zag, kind of like that. That's what I do. That seems weird, right? It's okay. It's meant to be kind of random, but you're not just going to make a straight line, is what I'm saying. You're going to make dots, but you're going to do them kind of fast, okay? Or kind of like a shaky hand, okay? We're going to do these small. So let's do a small one right here. I'm just going to go dot, 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 shaky hand, shaky hand, shaky hand. Yeah, kind of like that. Okay. So there's one of my blemishes. Okay. Let me do another one. I'll do another one right here. Let's see. I'm going to make this one like that. Like that. There. Okay. And then I'm going to do another one right here. There we go. I'm going to do one up here. I do one over here. So, I mean, they're just like little strange shapes wherever you want on your tree. Okay. And it just adds some character to your tree. I'm going to do one right here. Maybe one right there. Just because it looks like it needed a little something. There. Okay, so I have these different little strange shapes that I put on there. Well, in these little strange shapes, I'm going to make little branches coming out of them. So my little branch is going to reach up towards the sky, and I'm going to let it just gently linger off. Okay, I lift up my paintbrush just a little bit at the end so that it like it tapers off. It doesn't have to be a pretty little branch. No, it doesn't have to be a pretty little branch. Be a ugly looking, strange thing. Like that one didn't look all that fantastic, but I make the base a little bit wider, and I think he's kind of fun. Doesn't really matter. If you don't want to do branches, do you have to do branches? No, you don't have to do branches. Make it yours. Make it how you like it. I like to do some branches on mine, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it on yours. Let's see. Do one over here. And that guy, he got kind of thick. That's all right. I still like him. He's still my friend. Okay, I said I was going to do branch over there. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I think I want to put one over here. Do you have to put a branch in every one of your blemishes? No. Do whatever you want. Make it fun. If you don't like doing branches, then don't do branches. If you like doing a whole bunch of branches, make a whole bunch of branches. It's however you like to make your painting. There is no wrong way to do it. I'm going to put a little thing like that. Like that. Okay, that looks kind of like a coyote. He looks like a coyote. It's kind of like when you look into the night sky or into the sky on a cloudy day, and you see clouds and stuff, and you're like, oh, that looks like this or that looks like that. That little blemish looks kind of like a coyote. Okay, so I have some branches. I like my branches. I have them going in different directions, and they're kind of whimsical. I think I'm going to add a little thing there. I like that. Okay, so you can play with that as much as you want. Have as many branches as you want on for your painting. It's totally up to you how you like to have it. Okay, so Now we are up to the point to where we are going to outline the dark side of your tree. Okay, the side that we did the most heavy dry brushing. If I am going too fast, I'm going to say this again just to make sure that you guys know. If I'm going too fast, pause it. You can rewind it. You can pause it. You can fast forward it if I'm going too slow. So it's go at your own speed. Please don't be pressured by how quickly I'm going. Okay. So I'm just going to outline my tree. Okay. And then when I start to run out of paint, dip it back in, outlining my tree with the black and using my fine tip brush. I like to go from top to bottom. You'll also see that I use my pinky to kind of keep me more stable. You can do it however you want. That just works for me. And if I go like at a medium pace, I tend to do it a little bit more straight. If it's not perfectly straight, it's okay. This is your painting. It's, could you go over it with more paint and do something different to it? Sure, if you want to. I'm gonna add some dark lines on there. Okay, and I'm just outlining it. Left off up there. Okay. I get kind of quiet on doing this part because this is like fine detail. Yes, so like that. Once again, this just adds depth. Cool. All right. All right. So now I have my trees outlined. Could you have used a lighter color? Sure, if you wanted to use lighter color. This once again, you can do all kinds of different adaptations. If you wanted to, could you go back with your super fine brush and go back over and outline the white on this edge? Sure, if you want to. I'm not going to at this time, but if you wanted to do that, you could do that. Okay. So now I'm going to get my little brush ready because Santa Claus is coming to town. That's right. And before Santa comes into town, I need to get my little black brush loaded up. Okay, so I have my little brush. I'm going to only use black paint, but I am going to draw on the whiteboard right here what we are going to paint because when you see me painting it, you may not see the details that I'm doing to create the effect that we're going to be going for here. Okay, we are going to make 3 reindeer and Santa's sleigh. Okay, so for Santa's sleigh is going to start off as a large triangle. Okay, that's going to be Santa's sleigh. Then we're going to make Santa inside his sleigh. So we're going to put Santa like in the middle of the triangle, and he's going to look more like a snowman, and we're going to fill that in. Okay, then we're going to make a little triangle on the back of his head for his hat, because he's supposed to be like flying through the night and the wind is pushing back his hat, okay? And then we are going to have a bag of toys back there too. All right, so let's start with that. So we have the big triangle, which is his sleigh. We have the snowman looking Santa with a little pointy hat on, and then like an oval behind him. So let's do this. So I'm going to get some black paint. I'm going to do the outline first, and then I'm going to fill it in. So I'm going to put Santa's sleigh. Oh, I think this looks like a good spot. And I have my triangle that I just showed you guys. Okay, I'm going to fill in that triangle. Okay. And now I'm going to add Santa. So I'm going to put a little snowman. There he is. Snowman, and then I'm going to make his little head. I have a clump on my paintbrush. If you get a clump on your paintbrush, what I do, I scrape off some of the paint and then I rub it back onto my paper towel to kind of clear it, and then I put a little bit more paint it on a little bit, just smooch it. So I have paint on my paintbrush. I have my little Santa, looks like a little snowman. Okay, remember I said I was going to make his little hat pointing backward. There's his little hat. There we go. There's his little hat. There's my Santa head. Thicken that a little bit. There. Okay, so I have my Santa with his little hat. I'm going to scoot you up so that you can see a little bit more closely. Hopefully that helps us a little bit. Okay, so I have my Santa. I'm going to have my bag in the back. Okay, there's the bag in the back. Okay, all right, so now what are we going to do? Well, we have our Santa and we have our bag. What's pulling Santa? Well, we have reindeer. So I'm going to start off by having I'm going to have 3 reindeer for my Santa sleigh. I'm going to have 1 triangle, up ahead 2 triangle, and then I'm going to have a 3rd triangle. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do one reindeer, and then you can do the rest of the reindeer. So we're going to add our little triangle faces because this is our reindeer heads. So I'm going to put 1 reindeer head here, little triangle, and fill it in. Doesn't have to be perfect, just a shape of kind of like a little triangle. Then I'm going to do it up ahead even further. Oh, I need more paint. Another little triangle. Okay, and then up even further. A little 3rd triangle. I think 3 reindeer is enough. Okay, so now that I've done my 3 triangles, I'm going to have their bodies as well because Santa needs them to be running and pushing his sleigh, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have another triangle that comes down like this. Okay, and then after I do that, well, let's do that first. We'll do that to all 3 of ours. So it's kind of like a little line that's thicker towards his head than it is his body. Okay, so a little line Just a little line coming down. Little line coming down. Little line coming down. Okay. Now we need to put his body because that was just his neck. Okay. His body is going to be, we're going to have it come out, down, and up. It's kind of like a squished square. So it's going to be a little more narrow in the front than it is in the back. So get a little paint on my paintbrush and do a square. Oops. And go out, down, and back. Out, down, and back up. Oh, his body doesn't look very long, so I'm going to elongate it a little bit. This is like a little tiny one. It's a tiny reindeer. Are one of the reindeer smaller than the rest? Would that be Rudolph? Rudolph should be in the front. If you have red paint, you could always make his nose. Oh, this is a thick boy. He has a little bit more girth to him. It's my kind of reindeer. It's a girthy boy or girl. Okay, a little more body to him. There we go. I'm just filling them in just a little bit. Okay, so now I have, they almost look like ducks right now. They do kind of look like ducks. Don't worry, we'll put antlers on them and then they'll look better. But first we're going to add their legs. So for the legs, we're going to do this kind of a shape. Let's see. We're going to come down or out and down, then out and up, out and up. So it's just kind of mimicking what we would think that reindeer, how they would run. Okay, so it's just making sure you have that joint. So as long as you're doing like these L shapes or these little sevens, you're just fine. So we're going to make 4 little legs on each of these flying reindeer. I don't know why they would be galloping in the sky because, you know, it would imply that they were pushing off from something, but they're not really. Well, I guess they're pushing off from air. I don't know. They're magical. It doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, and then we have a little leg over here. And a little leg over here. And a little leg. So cute. Leg. I love reindeer. And yes, I know that there are more than just 3 reindeer. I know the song. I'm going to put their little tails on. Okay, little legs. It's kind of hard to do this fine detail, huh? Okay. Legs. There we go. Okay, so I have my reindeer. Now I need to have the rope that connects my reindeer. So I'm going to have Santa's hand out. Okay, and then I'm going to have a rope that goes from reindeer to reindeer. I need a little more paint on that. Here we go. Okay, so now we have Santa being pulled by his reindeer, and we need to put little antlers on them. A little straight up. Yes, I love that. So it's almost branch-like. They just go up and over. They can have multiple little prongs on their antlers. Oh, yes. I really like that one. I did that one really good. And that one, he's just going to be a little guy. He only has little tiny antlers. He's just in training. Okay. So then I'm going to have, just to make it a little more whimsical, I think I'm going to make it to where it's like kind of curves up because I kind of like that idea. So I'm making a little curvy there. And let's see, do we need to add anything else? If you wanted to add like little fine detail to your picture, you could. But now with our picture the way it is. Let me see that. You should have, and I'm sure that you do have, an amazing work of art similar to this or inspired by this. And regardless, I bet it is pretty awesome. So I want to give you a high five. High five. Oh, look at my hand. Ew, now it's on your hand. No, not really. It's not on your hand because we're just on video. Okay, well, thanks so much for coming. And I hope that you enjoyed doing our art piece, painting our art with Bob Ross and myself. And we plan on having more paint nights. So if you're interested in learning more about painting and coming with us on a journey of artistic abilities, please come again and we'll do more paintings. I'm really excited about having so many people interested in doing our paint night this time, and I would really like to get your feedback. So if there's something that you're like, oh, I wish I knew how to paint this or that. Like if you're a big Star Wars fan, you're like, oh, Mrs. Clapping, if you did something with Star Wars, we'd love it. Let me know, and then maybe we can make that happen for you. So once again, thanks so much. And I appreciate that you're out here today working on art and having fun with art and having fun with me. So have a great day and thanks for coming. Bye.